Hey there, we are live, and it is Fun Friday, right? I hope so. I'm so excited to bring on my special guest, and that today is all about having a little bit of fun, but also introducing a very, very cool concept that Amy, CEO and founder Amy Schweizer, like Budweiser, uh, created and developed and has really grown the Tiny Troops Soccer. So I'm super excited to bring her on board. I met Amy at a military influencer event, and we've stayed connected. And I said, "Hey, I need some people to talk to on my podcast," and she was more than delighted to say, "Cat, me." So let me bring her on board. Hey, Amy.
Hey, Kat, how are ya?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so before we get started, I want you to introduce yourself to everyone and let them know a little bit of background about your organization.
Sure. Well, I'm a mom to three boys. I have a 9, 7, and almost 5-year old. So that definitely keeps me busy. I am a military spouse. My husband is an active duty Marine. He actually just hit his 20 years. We're currently stationed at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. And I am the founder and director of Tiny Troop Soccer, and that is a preschool soccer program for ages 2 through 5. It's a developmental program, and all kids are welcome, military and non military. And we have locations near military installations in 17 states, as well as a couple locations overseas. So that's the general summary of it.
Okay, great, great. Now, if anybody is tuning in and you're watching the segment, or even if you watched rebroadcast, please drop your comments or any questions that you might have for Amy. If they come after the live segment, I'm happy to tag Amy on those so that she can address those. At the end of the day, Amy, what is the absolute goal of your organization? Like, why was it created?
So, why it was created and kind of where we're at now is a little different. It's evolved. It was created because I am a very driven person. I was always, if I get married, that'll be great and add something to my life, but I'm going to have my career. I'm going to be set, kids, whatever, like great. But no, this is what my focus is. I went to grad school. My master's degree is in sport management. And I got to work with the Philadelphia 76ers and a couple other teams. So I was headed to work in pro sports. Community relations and pro sports is where I wanted to be. I've always loved giving back and serving others, like through Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, that stuff. So that I wanted to do that on a larger scale in a sports arena. I'm a soccer player myself. Um, then though I met my husband and that totally changed. And what I knew of military life prior to being a spouse was like, oh yeah, support the troops. And that was about as far as what I knew. Right. I knew that I would have to leave my job, but I didn't know that I'd have to give up my career. And that was a very, very big thing to me and very hard for me to, digest really, and hard for our marriage at first as well. Anyhow, we had gotten married, went off to Camp Pendleton, and then moved to Okinawa a couple of years later. And while I was there, we had our first son. I was pregnant with my second. And I mean, I was going stir crazy, not really, the employment opportunities are even more limited overseas, but also when you have kids, you're the primary caretaker. And so I was going stir crazy at home. My son was going stir crazy. So actually another spouse was just kind of teaching some kids some soccer. She's like, hey, do you want to do this? And I thought, not really, like I'm pregnant and no, but finally I was like, I don't have anything to do. My son doesn't have anything to do. Like we need to get out of the house. We need to have physical activity and socialize. And so I said, sure, I'll do it. And then I just kind of turned it into this bona fide program where lots more families needed this as well. And so
Yep.
I started bringing on military spouses to help coach. And then once everyone started PCSing, I thought this is really needed at all of our locations because we need to get these kids out. We need to get the families out and doing something. I don't want us all to live on an island, literally and figuratively, in these communities. So the that's kind of where it started, and now it's really to get us. I still have that same passion, but also to integrate military and civilian families, because I think it was Blue Star Families. One of them had a survey out, and it said an overwhelming majority of us feel like we are on an island ourselves, that we have no support, no community. There wouldn't be anyone we could ask for help. So
Yep.
we're really excited to get that connection, make it happen, chat with another parent while you're at Tiny Troop. So our mission is to serve military kids and their friends while teaching the great game of soccer.
So I guess let me kind of bring it back a step, because I think
Okay.
probably a lot of people don't understand the military life. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm a veteran as well. So I can relate. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think a lot of civilian people or just your everyday people don't understand. So the first one I want to really address is, because you're moving a lot, because you're deployed, you're moving and everything, and you're supporting your husband and your family supporting your husband, a lot of times that means you have to be deployed and moved as well. And people don't understand that you're just like, they're picking you up out of your environment that you have been in, and then moving you to sometimes a remote place, or sometimes desolate, or sometimes in a community that is not speaking the same language or whatever. So it's a challenge. It's hard to acclimate. It's hard to adjust. Do you want to touch on that a little? Because I think that's the premise of your entrepreneurship, is you needed to create an opportunity for yourself, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it is hard to adjust. I mean, just simple things like, growing up, I went to the same doctor my whole life. So this family physician that saw me when I was little and could have seen my kids if I was still there, I've went to the same church my whole life. Things like that you have to find. So simple things like finding a dentist for yourself, finding dentists for your kids, finding a doctor for yourself, finding a hair salon, finding a church,
Yep.
I mean, literally, you're creating a brand new life where you literally may not know a single person or have never been in that state or that country before. So you have no idea. So, it is very hard to adjust. And I mean, that's why military divorce rates are so much higher than typical, because that it's hard. Any marriage is hard, but add in the extra factors of the military, and then the service member being gone so much. So you really are the primary person at home. Or if you don't have kids, then you're truly alone at
Oh,
home.
absolutely.
I remember the first event, and it's funny. I just had a colleague reach out to me, and she said, "You seem so confident. Can you give me advice on that?" And I was just texting before I got on this, and I said, "Actually, being a military spouse, because the first thing, we were in California, and a neighbor had come and invited me to a potluck, and I was talking to my mom. I'm like, I'm not going. I don't know these people. What am I going
Right.
to do?" And my husband was gone there, and she's like, "So the alternative would be sit in your house and literally do nothing with no one for months." Like, so I went, and I was so uncomfortable. It was so weird. I hated it. I don't like to cook. I didn't like to bring anything, but I was like, you know what? I'm going. But that got me started. And actually, some of those friends are still my friends, and we're stationed together like 12 years later.
Yep.
But you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to be able to say, "Oh, hey, like I've seen you at the park a couple of times. I'm Amy. Oh yeah, could you be my kid's emergency contact for school?"
Yep.
And you're like, "Oh yeah, what was your name again? And what's your last name?" Because so it's just so crazy, and it's hard to adjust. But of course, your attitude behind it and the resources you utilize, and the life you have to kind of create, right? Things aren't really handed to you. You have to, if you want to do something, you got to get out and find the resources and do it. So um, it is a little crazy to navigate.
Yeah. I mean, because I mean, here's the thing: is a lot of people salute veterans, and
Mhm.
you know, of course, for a reason. They sacrifice their life and they're doing these
Mhm.
things. But I think people don't understand that the spouses sacrifice a lot too, because sometimes you don't know if you're going to be there 3 months, a year, 2 years,
Mhm.
5 years. You don't know, because it's all based on your husband and or your spouse or whoever, your
Mhm.
partner, and what their mission is and what their duties are, right? So the other thing is you deal with a lot of culture shock, right? Culture
Mhm.
shock. And then the transition period, because I was fortunate I didn't have a family, and when I was moving around, but like kids, it's hard because they develop these friendships, they develop these things. I think it does make them a stronger person, quite frankly, because they're adjustable and they learn from mom or dad how to
Mhm.
acclimate, right? Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree. However, it doesn't mean it's not super hard for them.
No, no,
Like
yeah,
they're learning a great lesson of resiliency, but it comes at a price. From when the kids are like my husband watched my first be born on Skype, back
oh,
from Afghanistan. And
yep,
so he didn't actually meet our son until he was 4.5 months old. So,
wow.
and then you have just the integration period where the kiddos really don't remember when they're that young, like, who is this person? And
Yep,
then the service members' feelings are hurt because the kid won't go to them. And then you take that all the way up to, my 9-year old now who's starting to understand what's happening in the world and here's news. And, then even the teenagers who clearly grasp everything that's going on, you can't really say, yeah, daddy's going away, but his job is a safe job.
yeah,
They know that that may not be the case. And
yeah.
so, while they get a lot of it, they get to travel the world. They get a lot out of it. They get to travel the world, meet these new friends. But it's hard leaving friends as adults
Oh,
and
yeah.
making friends, let alone as kids. They don't really understand. And I actually wrote a book, Kat, that I'm going to throw in here called I Will Be Okay, Adventures of a Military Kid. And really, the whole premise is the importance of getting your kids out and having fun, having a physical activity, whether it
Yep,
be soccer or not, because we all know that physical activity also boosts your emotional and mental health. It's a positive, it shoots those endorphins. And so we really want to encourage parents to get kids out, especially during those times of stress, like a
yep.
deployment of a parent, so that they can get out, be with other kids, just kind of forget what's happening, have fun, exercise their body, and have something to look forward to.
Okay, so this transitioned really well. First of all, congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
I love that. That's awesome. And if there is a link you can send me, and I can drop it in all the
Oh, sure.
everything, I'd be happy to. I love that. And then, okay, so I love how this transition into what you have created, the Tiny Troop Soccer,
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, the reality is you're creating a community, right? A community that is going to hold people accountable, encourage people, but get kids out, right? Kids out and parents together. And
Yeah.
so that's the whole purpose of this. What what do you want if somebody is watching,
Hmm.
and let's say that they are either civilian, because you welcome civilians, right? Civilian or
Yeah.
military
Hmm.
family. Like, what do you want? What's the message to them in regards to your program?
Yeah, there's a couple of levels of it. So we want everyone to know that we build happy and confident kids. So I think we all forget that the goal of sports is to have fun. Like that
Yep.
no matter what level you are, you do it because you love it and have fun, and it's easy to forget that. So we have super fun activities that. And it builds confidence in the kids, not only just being around in a group of people and
Yep.
operating that way, but that translates into the classroom and other things for kids. So happy and confident kids. Our program I mentioned earlier is developmental. So we really focus on the core skills, the foundational skills, so that when it's age appropriate for them to move to the traditional recreational leagues, they're ready. We always get feedback. They're like, I didn't know how red light, green light with the soccer ball had anything to do with soccer, but now like my kid can dribble so well, and that's the main goal, right? So we really focus on those developmental skills so the kids are ready to play, and we build a community. A lot of times at our practices, our sessions are what we call them. Parents meet their first friend at that base or in that
Yep.
area because they keep chatting. Or sometimes I've even seen on the babysitter page, not that I recommend this, but they'll say like, I need a babysitter for tonight. And someone's like, oh, I think I saw you at Tiny Troops. Like, oh, okay, here's a friendship, right? So we want to build that. And then not only within the military community, but also within the civilian community. We want, it's very easy to become isolated as a mom as anyone in COVID times right now, right? So,
Mhm.
we want to provide an activity that anyone can come to, hopefully meet a friend, have someone for your kids to hang out with and for you to hang out with.
Okay. So, I would assume that you can get involved several ways. As a parent is the primary way, right? As a parent with kids. What are some other ways people can get involved or some things that you need help with?
Yeah, so we're always looking for coaches. So again, we've run up to 50 locations at a time, and so we want to spread this to as many people, as many communities and kids that want it. So we're always looking for coaches. So you just have to be over 16. We do ask for some soccer experience, and you have to be able to be, we say, act like a monkey and fly like an airplane. It's not the traditional coaching job per se, but so you have to have a fun personality and be able to get over yourself in that aspect. So we love to have coaches
Mhm.
involved with it. So we're always looking for that. We also look for sponsors. So if there's ever a kiddo who, the parents say, we'd love to do this, but can't afford it,
Yep.
we let them join anyways. But if it would be great if we had sponsors
Yep.
who would, as a company or as an individual, like we had someone send a check for $50 and just said, hey, I saw you guys, I love your mission, please put this towards a kiddo's enrollment fee. And
Yep.
so that would be great to have as well. And we also do things with that, Cat, like we partner with Angels of America's Fallen, which they provide activity grants for children of fallen service members and first responders. And so, of course, that's right up my alley, right? That's exactly what we want to do. So we do things that we partner with them and Deployed Love and a couple of other organizations too. So we like to partner with people in that sense. So
Yep.
that's cool too. The sponsorships and yeah, enrolling your kids and becoming a coach.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, I see that you have expanded. Is it 35 locations?
Yeah, so the most we've run at one time is 50, but 35 is a good number because it depends on where you are in the country. Like East
Okay.
Coast right now is on winter break. Some of the southern states, like Texas and such, they'll take off for a couple months in the summer because it's too hot. So we run year round, just depends on where you live exactly.
Okay. Now, let me get some clarification for anybody who's
Yeah.
watching and maybe they have kids at a base. Is the tiny troops at every base or it's something that has to be acclimated and implemented?
Oh, I would love for it to be at every base. It is not at every base, Cat,
Okay.
and almost all of our locations are actually just outside of base, so that it is accessible for
Okay.
civilians as well. Because working with the military can sometimes be difficult with their stuff that they have
Yep.
going on.
Yep.
So we typically are right off base so that anyone can join us.
Yep. Okay. Now, what if a spouse or a military person had kids and they're watching now and they're like, "Oh, this is not near the location we are location." Can they get one started there?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
that's a great thing is we have this awesome model that we're ready to get started as soon as we find a qualified coach. So
Okay.
you can message our Facebook page, Tiny Troop Soccer, Instagram, Tiny Troop Soccer, send us an email, info at Tiny Troop Soccer. So yeah, we would love to say, hey, we don't have this here. I'm interested in getting it started. And then yeah, we'll take it from there.
Okay. So I'm just curious, like, do you have any success stories of how this has helped people? Like, I'm sure you get a lot of feedback from families and people. Like, any success
Yeah.
stories you want to share or
Yeah, we
anything?
Yeah, so we actually, one of our coaches got a video message the other day from a kiddo who's now in U12, so an older kiddo, but who did Tiny Troop Soccer. And they sent us a video and just said, just so you know, it all started with you. And they were in
Yep.
I think like the championship game.
Yep.
So we get that a lot. We have a lot of non-field successes. So
Yep.
when parents say, my kid would never leave my leg anywhere we would go. And now she's comfortable in a group setting.
Yep.
Or my kid has developmental delays, and so being out here has been so amazing to see that he is able to jump and run and follow instructions. And so we hear across the board, and it's so rewarding, Kat, and
Yep.
so fulfilling. And again, we know how difficult life is in general, but especially as a military child. So we really want to give our kids something to help them move forward.
No, absolutely. And I have to do some shout outs, some messages that
Yeah,
some people have message. Wallace, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. And I don't want to butcher her name. Silovika says talking about turning lemons into lemonade. So, she's applauding you.
thank
And I'm
you.
glad you decided to start this program, which is awesome. And thanks for participating and watching. And then David, two beautiful ladies. Well, thanks, David. Thanks for
Thanks.
participating. Yes, absolutely. And if anybody who's watching live or in the rebroadcast, please, if you have any questions, if you want to support,
Yeah,
if you want to participate, this is for military veterans, military active military veterans, or anybody outside of those military locations, because again, it's all about integration. It's about bringing the communities together so that they can play together, learn together, right, grow together, and become a really good community,
yeah.
which I think it's a great foundation that you have. The tiny When did you start now, Amy?
So we started back in 2015. So we're
Okay.
actually on 6 years.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
awesome.
we've served over 15,000 kids. We've hired over, I think we're over 150 military spouses or dependents
Hmm.
already. We do, anyone can coach for us. You don't have to be related to the military. I say if you love kids and you love
Yep.
soccer and you're able to show that on the field, we want you with us.
That is awesome. Now, what is the future for you? What do you see as your future? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we want to expand. You had said, are you at every base? That would be amazing if we could become these
Yep.
toddler soccer program, the
Yep.
preschool soccer program at every base. So, if you're in any of the Marine Corps or Army or any of those
Yep.
family programming, please give me a call. I'd love to chat. But so that would be amazing. But even if not, just expanding our services to be as close to as many bases as possible so we can give our kiddos something fun and healthy to do.
Yeah. And I love that you said that, because again, we're all 6 degrees of separation. So every
Mhm.
time someone leaves a comment, every time someone gets a glimpse of this video, it would be a cool thing if someone reached out to you that was well connected, that could get you into those other organizations, into those other bases, because I think that's an awesome goal to have, is
Yeah,
to be able to be in every base and have that kind of like momentum going. And I love the name Tiny Troop Soccer. It has its own momentum as itself, so which is
yeah.
very, very cool. How can people get a hold of you? Where should they go? What social platforms? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, all the stuff. Huh? So, personally, I am on LinkedIn. I love connecting with people there, and I really post on there about entrepreneurship, women in sports, just things like that are really important to me. So, you can find me at Amy Tiny Troop Soccer on LinkedIn. We have Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for Tiny Troop Soccer as well. Or you can connect with us tinytroopsoccer.com, or if you want to shoot an email, info@tinytroopsoccer. So pretty much if you put in Tiny Troop Soccer, Cat, you're going to
Yep.
find us somewhere.
Okay, good, good, good. And it's easy to find the logo, so because it's right
Yeah.
above you. It's right, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. It's right there. And it's a very identifiable logo. So, if you are searching and you can't find it and happen to see the logo, you're in the
You
right
found it. You
place.
found it.
You're in the right place. Awesome. Well, Amy, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed the weekend and do some great things with your family. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Cat.
Absolutely. I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
And again, if anybody is interested in helping Amy out, please, please, please reach out or drop a comment or reach out to her. I will make sure that I put her links in the notes and in all the posts so that you can get a hold of her. And what a great program Amy has. And I hope that this gets to some people and she can get some momentum going and actually does fulfill that goal of being in every base for the kiddos of military families. So, how wonderful. Thank you again for joining me. And as I always end this, you got this.